Chosh Chodesh Sivan, on which it was declared, V'atem tili mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh, you will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. We gather here tonight to discuss the codes of creation. When God created the world came into existence by the will of God, but this will expressed itself, as we just read in Pirkei Avot this past week, Be'asara ma'amarot nivra ha'olam, with 10 words, 10 utterances, the world was created. 10 words brought about the existence of this world. And indeed, it's possible, it could have been possible for God to create the world with one word. One word, boom. The existence of the world comes in one word. But God decided to do it in 10 words. It's not by accident it's in 10 words. It's certainly not by accident that the 10 commandments, which we'll be reading 6 days from now, on the 6th of Sivan, on Sunday morning, everywhere in the world, as we will re-celebrate 3,330 years from the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai, we will be reading again 10 words. But these 10 words will be another 10 words, the 10 commandments. Interestingly enough, when God starts the Torah, it starts with the letter Bet. And our sages teach us, why doesn't the Torah start with the letter Aleph? Because the letter Bet is the first letter of the word Beracha, blessing. While the letter Aleph is the first letter for the word Arur, cursed. And besides that, with the letter Aleph, there's so many good words which start the letter Aleph. The word O, like Amen. Right? The word Amen, the word O, which light. Emet, truth, starts with the letter Aleph. So, why in the world do we start with the letter Bet? First of all, we have to understand the Zohar Kadosh teaches us that the only way that the 10 words of creation can stand, can exist, is by the 10 words of the Torah, the 10 commandments. Asara, asara b'shekel hakodesh. 10 for 10. Let us explain. What is the letter Aleph? The letter Aleph is 1. Actually, if we spell out the word Aleph, Aleph, Lamed, Pe. Aleph is 1, Lamed is 30, and Pe is 80. Add all of them, what do you have? 111. 111. The perfect oneness that exists is in the word Aleph. At the same time, if you double the Aleph, the now one Aleph becomes the letter Bet. The Kuf, which is 100, becomes now 200, which is Resh. And the Yud, which is 10, now becomes the letter Chaf. So you have 111, which becomes 222. What is 222? The word Barech, which is the word Beracha, blessing. What is a blessing in this world? Multitude, abundance. That's a blessing. Everything was created in abundance in this world. When you have an abundance of blessing, when you double your blessing, that is called a blessing. And therefore the word that starts creation, Bereshit bara Elokim, and God created the world, starts with the letter Bet, because this is the world which is a multifaceted world. And that's why the name used is the name Elokim. Elokim, Elohim, is the name of God, which has a numerical value of Hateva, which is 86. And it's the name of God which is plural, to show that God's multifaceted expression is expressed in nature. I can recognize God in a leaf, as I can recognize Him in the sun and the highest constellations and planets. There's multitude, there's abundance. Beracha bereshit bara Elokim. While when we speak about God, it is a curse to have many gods. We have only one God, and therefore the word Ani Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am the Lord your God, and here it uses the name Hashem Yud Ke Vav Ke, which represents the dimension of God, which was, which is, which will be, Haya Hove Ve'yeh Ke'ehad, in a simultaneous time, without being bound by time. Starts with the Aleph, because only the unity of God can endure and can actually create the dimension of time, and is above all facets and all the level of multiplicity. So when it comes to spiritual matters, what counts is the Aleph. When it comes to material matters, what counts is the Bet. It's not by accident that with the same word which we say Beracha Barech is the same letters, which is blessing, which is the same letters as the word Becho, which is the firstborn, which gets a double portion when God forbid, the parent passes on. Besides that, why didn't the Torah start with an Aleph? If we look, our sages teach us Kushtakai. Kushtakai means truth stands. Interestingly enough, the word Kai has a numerical value of Aleph, 111. Why Kushtakai? This is in the Talmud of Shabbat in page 104. And over there it says that Aleph, Emet, truth, stands. Why? If you look at the word Emet, it's made of the letters Aleph, which has 2 feet, the letter Mem, which has a solid foundation, the letter Tav, which have 2 feet, and therefore Emet, Kushtakai, it stands well. Our sages teach us Emet is very hard to find. That's why it's associated. It starts with the first letter of the Aleph Bet, the last letter of the Aleph Bet, and the Mem, which is the central letter of the Aleph Bet. Right? I think there's even a singer that wrote a song about sincerity. Is a very, very hard thing to find. Truth, Emet, is something which is hard to find. You got it from the Talmud. While Sheker, the word lie, Sheker, is very easy to find, our sages teach us. The letters just follow one another. Kuf, Resh, Shin are 3 letters which live in exact proximity because it's so available. I recently heard from Rabbi Sela, the author of Otzar HaChochmah, the biggest encyclopedia of Jewish books on a hard drive. I had the honor and privilege, I think his name is Rav Aaron Sela, to receive him at my house. And he told me what turned him on to Judaism, to the practice of Torah and so on, is one word he saw from Rabbi Nachman of Breslev that says, Emet, truth, there's only one. Lies, there's many. And he gives an example. This is a cup. The truth of the matter is, there's only one truth. This is a cup. If I'm going to say that it's a chair, or the sun, or the moon, or a table, it's a lie. Anything else that I'm going to say on this cup is a lie. So there are many lies, but there's only one truth. So, lies can be found. Many lies. But if we look further, there's a number that represents sheker, the lie, and there's a number that represents emet. But before that, the letter shin, the Ashkenazic way of writing the letter shin, is with a point. It's pointy. It only has one foot. The letter kuf only has one leg. The letter resh only has one leg. So they don't stand. The letter sheker, the word sheker, lie, does not stand. And even according to the opinion that you're going to write a Sephardic shin, which means that the shin will have a solid base. Rashi in Parashat Shelach Lecha says concerning the spies that came to speak ill of the land of Israel because they didn't want to be busy with earthly matters, even though their intention was good, but they were speaking bad about the land of Israel. When they came back, they said the land is a great land, it's a good land. And then they added a word, Efes ki, but. And then they started their Lashon Hara, their ranting and speaking bad about the land of Israel. Rashi says this teaches us how to lie. You want a lie to be believed, you have to start with the truth. And then you get people's attention. So it makes sense that according to that interpretation, the shin, which is the first letter, should be a solid letter, and then the other letters should be letters that don't stand. But furthermore, the letter shin has a numerical value called gematria, which gematria comes from the word geometry. Right? The word geometry comes from the word gematria. And of a numerical value of 300 for the shin, kuf is 100, resh is 200. That's how much? 600. The letter, the word emet, on the other hand, has a numerical value of 400 for the tav, 40 for the mem, and 1 for the aleph. 441. If you look at what's called a combination of letters, and you take each one of these letters and you make it into one number, the 600 is 6 plus 0 and 0, which is 6. And the 441 is 4 plus 4 and 1 is 9. It's the opposite of the 6. One holds its head high and the other one is up. It's completely upside down. So what happens is, let's start. We know that a chazakah, when you want to establish something, it could be established once you have it 3 times. It happens 3 times and it continues to go in the same direction. It's already established. It's what we call a chazakah. So if you look, the first, imagine that we would have started the Torah. The Torah would have started with an aleph. So aleph, first letter, second letter, third letter. 1 plus 2 plus 3, how much is that? 6. Let's continue. Let's go to 4 plus 5 plus 6. 15. 15 is how much? 1 plus 5? 6. And we go on like this. But if we start the letter of the Torah with the letter bet, 2 plus 3 plus 4, and afterwards 5 plus 6 plus 7, 18, which is again 9. And the whole sequence will continue. Actually, if you open any book of Torah, whether it's the Mishnah, whether it's the Talmud, whether it's the Chumash, you will never find a book which starts with the page 1. There's always, it starts with page 2. Why? Because if you can get a discount, why not? No, because simply, even when it comes to the study of Torah, there's a prerequisite. You cannot immerse yourself in the study of Torah if you don't have the aleph before. Aleph represents what's called Alufo Shel Olam. Very interesting, that looks like the word Aluf. Alufo Shel Olam, the master of the universe. First to recognize the master, then accept, then study his teachings. Then the teachings have meaning. But if you don't have this Aleph of Emunah, of faith, what do you have? You have nothing. Interestingly enough, when God came to give the Torah to the Jewish people, before he started to go to all nations of the world, and he offered it to one nation, and they said, no, what's in your Torah? What are we getting for our money? He says, you can't kill. He says, killing? What are you talking about? We send our kids to die. And then he came to another nation. And he said, go ahead, you want my Torah? I said, what does it say in your Torah? Do not commit adultery. What are you talking about? We like good wine and adultery. We're not taking your Torah. And then he says, do not steal. Do not kill. Respect your father and mother. He said, I'm sorry. We're not accepting your Torah. We have one day, Father's Day, Mother's Day, that's it. The rest of the year, we behave the way we want. God forbid. Even the person that established Mother's Day thought that it should not be used and commercialized. And finally, he came to the Jewish people, and there's two different explanations on what the Jewish people reacted. There's the famous joke.
Why he went to others first?
Very good question. Why did he go to other nations first? And the answer is very simple. Because how can I go and say, you know what, I'm going to offer it to my beloved child, and afterwards everybody's going to say it's not fair. You would have offered it to us. We would have behaved better than the Jewish people. So comes God and says, no problem. I'm going to first to go to all nations of the world, offer them the Torah. If they refuse it, and when they refuse it, then it's their business. They won't accept it, let them accept it.
And if they would have accepted it,
then it would have been theirs. Not only that, they would have been the child that the gift of God's wisdom was given to. And actually, originally, according to the Kli Yakar, and thank you for asking this question, according to the Kli Yakar, which is a commentary on the Torah, the first of the 10 commandments was really given to all nations of the world. The second tablets, which have added letters to it, and added details to it, if you really go and make an intrinsic analysis, a deep analysis, a comparative analysis between the first 10 and second 10 commandments, you will see that there's certain things which are very particular to Jews, which non-Jews are not asked to do. So yes, it would have been theirs, but they refused it. Comes God to the Jewish people, and we all know the famous joke. They ask, how much does it cost? And God says, it's free. Oh, we'll take 2 tablets. Okay, that's funny. But on a more serious note, he asked the Jewish people, do you want my Torah? And what is the response of the Jewish people? Naaseh v'nishma. We will do, and then we'll understand. It's the olden day way that people used to sign a contract. They would shake their hand and says, we will do, and then we'll understand. Like our good friend Mrs. Cuenca always says in the name of her father, of blessed memory, it's better to do a bad deal with a good partner than a good deal with a bad partner. Didn't you tell me that one day? Yes? Something like that. So, we're with a good partner. Who cares what the deal is? Let's do it! Thank God it was a good deal. So really, that's one midrash. But I saw another midrash that says that's not really what happened. The Jewish people said, what does it say in your Torah? And God answered, Just like he said to them, you can't kill, you can't steal, you can't this, you can't that. He said to the Jewish people, well, it says in my 10 commandments, I am the Lord your God. What? How fair is that? To everybody else, you say, don't do this, don't do that, or do this. And to the Jewish people, say, I'm the Lord your God. Well, I guess we have no choice, right? One of the commentaries says something unbelievable. How do you test if somebody is ready to get this an unbelievable gift called the Torah? You test them with their greatest difficulty in their life. There are certain nations which their difficulty is we live to kill. And we kill to live. Others, they live to steal. They live to whatever. Each one has their thing, their temptations, which just we can't resist. Every nation, every person has their challenge. What is the challenge of the Jewish people? I am the Lord your God. Your challenge is to believe. That's your challenge. That was what God told us. I am the Lord your God. Are you ready to accept that in every and any given situation, I am the Lord your God and I took you out of Egypt? And, oh my God. You're my servant and, well, I don't know, but what if this happens? Or what if this doesn't happen? Should I still? Yeah. That's the way it is. Okay. Naaseh v'nishma. Then they said, we will do, and then we'll understand. Because that's the ultimate challenge. Yes?
Wasn't that question asked in a moment of despair when they were slaves in Egypt or just went up, when they just left Egypt? So they were not going to say no.
Okay.
Miracles just happened.
So first of all, excellent question. Second excellent question for tonight.
That's why he's the host.
That's why you're the host. And we're going to bless our host and our hostess that Bezat Hashem should bless your house. And Bezat Hashem with all the blessings that you desire. Amen.
Amen.
And more in good health. So that actually is not only a question, what you're saying, it's a statement. It's a statement of our sages that say, Kafa alehem har kegigit. God literally turned over the mountain and said, either you receive my Torah, or that's it, you're gone. Goodbye. The Rebbe says, what does it mean God turned over the mountain? He coerced us into receiving the Torah. After exactly what you said, God hits our enemies that enslaved us, that threatened us with a nuclear attack. 10 plagues, one after the other. After he, in front of everyone, he just opened the sea. And we saw each person was able to recognize the person that was enslaving him in Egypt and see him drown. Gave us their gold, their silver, and gave us the manna, and gave us water, and made all these miracles. And finally, for the first time in the history of mankind, 2,448 years in the process, do you want my Torah? Well, how could I refuse? You've done so much good to me. You've been so good. The only thing I could say is yes. So that was a forceful way, forced by love. And that's why generations later, at the time of Purim, Kimu vekiblu haYehudim et asher echelu la'asot. Our sages will teach us in the Talmud of Megillah that we will finally really integrate and accept the Torah only then. We accepted it at the beginning. Yes, we said yes, we accept. But did we know really what we're getting ourselves into? It's like getting married. Do I know what I'm getting myself into? Come on. But I'm in love. You don't understand. The love is pulling me. I'm going to get married. She forced me. And then there's the morning after syndrome, which is basically you wake up to the sweet reality that this is going to be a lifetime commitment and investment. And if you're too superficial to do it, well, too bad. This is not good. This is a lifetime commitment. And here, this is exactly the same thing. It's interesting because our sages teach us that you have to accept the yoke of Torah like a donkey accepts its load and like a ox accepts its yoke. So somebody once came to a big rabbi and asked him, Rabbi, I don't really understand. What time? Did you ever see a donkey or an ox with his shoulders moving, trying to take away the yoke? This is the way I have to accept the Torah. And the rabbi answered him. It was Rabbi Lipsker from the Shul Bal Harbor, Rav Shalom Dovber ben Bela, Rachel Bela, Refuah Shlema. And he said, you're the best example of this. Do you remember when I made a deal with you to put on tefillin every day for 6 months? What did you do? I put him on. This man was so ignorant, in order not to wake up his wife in the morning, would go in the bathroom to put him on. And when he found out that Shabbat you're not supposed to put him on, one day he came to the rabbi and told the rabbi, Rabbi, today, Sunday, I put him on twice. So the rabbi tells him, do you remember when we made a deal for 6 months to put on tefillin? Yes. What happened after the 6 months? You came to me and what did you tell me? He says, Rabbi, I don't feel anything. It's not my thing. I'm done with the deal. But whoever knows Rabbi Lipsker knows that he's not a person that lets go so quickly, especially when it comes to good things like mitzvot. And he told him a little extension, 3 months. And then what happened is suddenly he did it for another 3 months, and then he was on fire. And he didn't stop since. So the rabbi told him, my friend, if you would have done things because you feel like it, how long would it lasted? Not 1 day, 2 days maybe. The fact of the matter is, because you were like that ox that accepted the load and did what was opposite his nature, eventually you were able to integrate and become a vessel to receive it. That's the way you receive the Torah. First of all, force yourself. Force yourself to go beyond your understanding, because you'll never understand God. But the only way you can cleave on to God is once you put your understanding aside. You want to cleave on to that truth of Torah? Let go of your ego, let go of your psyche, let go of your emotion, let go of your logic, and just do it. Once you're going to just do it, at that moment, you will discover a beauty that's unbelievable. Just like when you're married. At the beginning, it could be the most bitter moments. I've seen couples that in the first months and the first years of their relationship, it was at the verge of disaster. But they toughed it out, and they pushed, and we're going to try, and eventually, that's when the breakthrough comes. Because the moment I'm not thinking about my ego, I'm not thinking about my logic, I'm thinking about, you know what? There's what I feel like doing, and then there's the right thing. And once I do the right thing, eventually the feeling is ignited. I'm not saying it's always like this, but when it comes to our relationship with God, that's how it really starts. And this is the preparation. You want to accept my Torah? I'm going to give you the most difficult thing to do. And you're going to do it. And when will you really integrate the Torah? The moment you say, during Purim, when Rouhani, Haman, wants to say, I'm going to destroy men, women, and children in one day. And suddenly Achashverosh wakes up in the middle of the night and says, you know what, I'm pulling out of this deal. And Russia is doing the same soon. And we see the world is turning in the right direction. When I stand with my Judaism proud, and I continue studying, and I continue attaching myself to these values, and I continue doing things that sometimes do not make me so comfortable, at that moment, that attachment is a real attachment. There's a story, one of my favorite ones, where a few Hasidim, followers of great rabbis, met, and each one was recounting the great miracles that his rabbi did. And my rabbi, you know, somebody was on his deathbed, and he said a blessing and an incantation, and boom, he was alive again. Another person, he was at the verge of losing everything, and suddenly he gave him a blessing, he became wealthy. And this one was looking for a shidduch, she was looking at, and this happened, and this happened. Suddenly there's a chassid that gets up, a true story. And he said, I asked my rabbi, should I invest in this business? And he said, yes, and I lost all my money. The other group said, what's the miracle here? We don't understand. He says, the miracle is that he's still my rabbi and I'm still a student. When things are going to go your way, the way you want, and say, you know what, it doesn't work, goodbye. No. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, Na'aseh v'nishma. I'm the Lord your God, I believe in you, and we will do, and then we'll understand. And this is my motto throughout everything that I do. At that moment, I am ready. I'm ready to carry this extraordinary saying. God says, Atem tiyu li mamlechet kohanim. You will be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. That's holiness. Holiness is me breaking my nature and doing what's right because it's right. So when we talk about the world's existence, the prophet says, Im lo beriti yomam v'layla chukot shamayim v'aretz lo samti. If it wasn't for my covenant, the covenant of Torah, then the order of the world, of the universe, the laws that govern the skies, the heavens, and the earth would not exist as well. That's why they say that there are different time zones. Because at the moment that we sleep, others are studying Torah somewhere else in order to hold the world. And therefore, as we come to the holiday of Shavuot, which means at the same time, the word Shavuot means Shvu'ah, which is an oath. And we all made an oath that we would be a tzaddik and not a rasha, we would be righteous and not the opposite. It's a time for us to reconnect to our Torah, to reconnect to this infinite wisdom, which is the source of all wisdoms. The source of who we are and what makes us exist and continues to exist. There was a French comedian I now forgot his name, which was interviewed about a tour he was doing in France at one of the big televisions stations. And at a certain moment he got very upset. He says, "Why do they hate us? Why do they hate us? What did we do that this and this person, this innocent person, should be killed and so on and so forth in such a horrible way?" And the non-Jewish host of the TV show said to him, "Because you have the Torah. That's why. You have this eternal truth that was given to you, and you have been chosen to receive it and to keep it, and that's what keeps you as a nation alive till today, after all the persecutions." To hear this from the mouth of somebody which is not Jewish, in France, on public television, it's a lesson for us that we have to appreciate this gift and cherish it. How do you cherish a gift? When you use it. And how do you use it? By taking time every day to study Torah. When we take time to study Torah, we connect to God in a way which is above any dimension, any level of connection that could be. We connect to the will, to the essence of God, to the wisdom of God. And that wisdom becomes a part of us. And when we are connected to God, we have absolutely nothing to fear. Bezrat Hashem, I want to wish you, and what the Frierdiker Rebbe said about this holiday, Kabbalat Torah, a receiving of the Torah, which means you have to make yourself a vessel, besimcha, with joy, but not with some superficial joy, with ubepnimiyut, with a joy that's internalized. When you're really joyful inside, the gift and the celebration is not only one day, but it's every day of your life.